Hello from Black Lena. Now, first of all, who's been spreading the news that I'm married? Where did you get that idea from in the first place? I'm not. Okay, number two, wish list. Somebody asked me if I have a wish list. You are my wish list. I have, I don't know, quite a few people numbered on my wish list because your resources are endless. Things that you can do and things that you know, and if you all combine it, and now it seems that I have this access to an enormous amount of knowledge and skills, and what can I wish for? The only things that I wish is food, and so far I have plenty of it. So I think the best is your skills and what you can teach me and what I can learn from you and what you can learn from me. And the third point today from you, you have asked for the ab exercises, stomach exercises. So this is also useful for my 101 and 201 students too. If you don't have a yoga mat, maybe it's a good idea to get one. Otherwise you might hurt your back, but it's not necessary. So what you do is raise your legs, don't straighten them but bend the knees. Put your hands behind your head and then touch your elbow to the knee, then go back. Don't put your head down, don't relax the stomach muscles, and then touch the opposite knee. If you pull your toes towards you, it's going to make it harder. So 1 and 2 and 3. It's better done with the yoga mat because it hurts a little bit with the spine. And the other one, and I know I did a video on this before, but just in case if you didn't see it, you lie on the floor flat, make sure that your spine touches the mat, and put your legs down, don't touch the floor, and raise them up, and down, and up, and down, and up. That's a good one. Would that be enough? This is also a good exercise too. When you stand like that, or with the hand back, and put your hips down and up, down and up, down and up, quite a few times. It can also be done with the elbow to the floor. 1, 2, don't touch the floor with your hips. 3, 4. And of course you do both sides. Maybe I would say 5 minutes per day would be more than enough. This is it for today from Black Lena. And the mistress, here she is. I haven't done enough splits, so I'm going to continue with the splits while I'm talking to you. And first I would like to start with Christmas. Christmas is coming, and it's a special holiday for some people. Not for me, but I would still like to get something from you. And don't worry, I'm not asking for a gift or anything. I'm going to give you the address here in Thailand, a secure address, to send me a Christmas card. But that is going to be a very special slave Christmas card. And if you're not a slave, you can still send a card because it has nothing to do with the fetishes, and it can be done by anybody. And what I want you to write inside the card is, think about your life and think about one single notion or one single teaching that you learned, perhaps from your parents or your teachers at school when you were little, or you read somewhere in the book. Something that impacted your life, something that helped you in your life, some quote or something that you learned when you were a child and is really helpful to you. It can be 1 line, it can be 3 lines, or a story that your grandmother must have told you when you were a little boy or girl. And write that inside the card. If your handwriting is not good enough, type it up, cut it out and paste it inside a card, put it in an envelope, put the address, and send it as soon as possible so it gets here to Thailand before Christmas. And I think it would be a wonderful collection, and it's not very difficult to do, yet it requires a lot of input from you, and I will be receiving something that has been in your hands and in your country, and something with a personal input, something with a message. Do not write like a Happy New Year and wish you a Merry Christmas, but write something that I have asked you to write. And as for the address, I cannot publish it on YouTube, so you will have to email me at polina.korea@gmail.com, the usual email address, and I will send you the postal address for the card. This is for everybody. Now, 201 students' homework is a little bit more difficult. As you know, we're writing the textbook now, and what I want you to do is help a little bit with the research. You are to research other mistresses. You don't have to do it now, but you can think about what you have done in the past and what sort of mistresses you have met. And anybody else who wants to contribute, feel free to do so if you have enough time. Think about mistresses, other mistresses, and their philosophies, if they have any at all. But I want you to think of something that you have liked in their philosophy or in the way they teach and train their slaves. And I'm looking more for spiritual and psychological guidance rather than tasks, physical tasks that they have given you. So that's your 201 homework. And 101 homework is something that is also very important to a slave. A slave is a slave, a mistress is a mistress. So some people think that a slave is lower than the mistress. What is lower, when you turn it upside down, it becomes higher, right? And we are always rotating in this world. So one day the slave is up here, the next day I am. Why? Because I'm using my slave's skills and knowledge, and if I'm using it, it must be better than my own, right? Otherwise, what would be the use of the slave? Slave is there to add to your mistress, and your mistress is there to add to your slave, to her slave. So there's this exchange. And as a slave, you should be able to see your mistress's weak points. And weak points is something that you could help with, and that would lead to her personal improvement. So instead of saying, mistress, you know, your feet are the most beautiful feet in the world, which doesn't really add anything to her, except, okay, thank you, that's nice, but it doesn't really change her life. And criticism is much more difficult, and I'm talking about constructive criticism. So, if you notice anything that you could improve in your mistress, or from what I have said to you so far, from what I have done online so far, and you've seen a lot by now, if you write one line of constructive criticism, you don't have to be too polite. I understand, I criticize you all the time, and I will, because that is what makes you improve, and I need to point out your mistakes. Sometimes I'm not so hard, but this is your chance to criticize your mistress, and it is an order and a request. So send me a line, or if you can't fit it into one line, send 2 lines, but don't make a whole big email out of it, of constructive criticism and what your mistress could improve. And I really look forward to that, because I think it will add to me, and therefore if I improve, I will improve my training skills to train my army, my knights, my soldiers. And you did a wonderful job with the homework, the last homework, coming up with ideas for the new name of mistress and slave. it will be part of the book, I think somewhere on the cover maybe. But there are so many ways to name mistress and slave. You'd be surprised what people come up with, and everybody's view is different. So if you haven't done that homework yet, feel free to email me. It's just 2 words of homework, an alternative way to say mistress and slave. It can be, I don't know, needle and thread, or bottle and cap, and whatever you come up with. Okay, well, and also, I've given you all, not all, but some of you individual tasks. If at any stage you feel like this task is really a drag and I don't feel like doing it, tell me, because it's not the point. You're supposed to be enjoying this act of giving and doing something for your mistress, because it is serving another person, it's serving your mistress. So if you think it's a drag and you don't want to be doing the task, tell me about it. And if you want an individual task, and I haven't given you an individual task yet, that is because you have not identified your unique role yet. And just to say more on the unique role, masturbation is not a skill. Right? Just so that we're clear on that. I think quite a few people that think that their good skills are in that area. You know, I'm against it, and you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.